Hey, it's Hannah with Keep Omaha Beautiful, and thanks for joining us this week for our Nature in Your Neighborhood activity. This week we are going to measure a tree. I love this activity because too often kids struggle to see the real-world application for math. This activity allows you to measure a tree near your home using simple tools and basic geometry skills. Foresters, arborists, and scientists use measurements like these to determine the environmental benefits of trees. They also use them to assess the amount of usable wood that can be harvested from a tree. Although you aren't likely going to be harvesting your tree for wood, it is interesting to see how big your tree actually is. We're going to start off by measuring the diameter of a tree. We can easily measure the circumference, which is the distance around the trunk in a circle, but the diameter is a straight line through the trunk, so it's kind of hard to measure, and we have to do some math to figure it out.
All right, we're here this afternoon and we are going to be doing the sizing up a tree activity. We're going to be measuring this awesome walnut tree that we have in our yard and finding out what the DBH is. So the DBH is the diameter at breast height, and it's going to be pretty simple for us to figure this out. We have a few basic supplies today. We've got some string, a tape measure, a marker, and a calculator. We're using a tablet here today, but any kind of calculator you have would be awesome. To start off with this, Savannah's going to use the tape measure. She's going to start with it, and Lucia's going to help her out. They're going to use a tape measure to measure 54 inches up from the base of the tree. So that's about 4.5 feet. And then Savannah's going to mark that spot with her thumb or finger. I'm going to put the tape measure back down, and Savannah's going to just hold on to that spot right there while Lucia grabs some string. She's going to put the end of the string under Savannah's thumb. And then she's just going to walk around the tree, keeping it pretty much at the same height there as much as possible, and just make her way all the way around the tree. Wrap that string around. When they get to the spot where those two strings meet up with each other, they're going to mark that with the marker.
Okay.
And then just take the string down from the tree. So rather than trying to wrap the tape measure around the tree, this is a great way to be able to find that length. And then they can lay the string down on the ground and use the tape measure to measure from one end to the other. This is going to give us the circumference of the tree. That's the distance around your tree at that 4.5 feet. So with the tape measure, then they can find out just what that circumference is.
Did you take the Sharpie? She took the Sharpie.
What are we at, Lucia? What's our circumference?
About 125, which is...
All right, so we're gonna figure out the diameter of our tree, which is basically just taking the circumference that we measured just now and dividing it by pi. By pi, we're saying that 3.14 number, not like a slice of pie. So Lucia, if you take the circumference that we got and divide it by 3.14, what do you get as our diameter?
Since the number was 120 divided by pi, that'll give us 38.197,186,342.
So we can just go ahead and round that maybe to the closest inch.
Yeah, so that'll be about 38.
About 38 inches for the diameter. One thing that is really fun to do with these activities would be to do the measurements a couple of times with both activities to find out if you get the same information each time. You'll probably come up with something very similar, and obviously these are really good estimations and good calculations to be doing. We're going to hold on to all this information for next week for our activities that we'll do next time. Thanks for joining us.
Now we are going to figure out how tall our tree is. We could climb the tree or get a really tall ladder, but instead we'll keep our feet firmly on the ground and do a fancy bit of math magic to estimate the height of the tree.
All right, next we're going to measure how tall one of the trees in our yard is. We have this really awesome oak tree that we have here, and we have no idea how tall that tree might be. So we're gonna do a really fun little activity and just find out how tall that tree is with some simple math. So we have some really basic items here to help us out. We have a pencil. We have 2 handkerchiefs that we're gonna use to kind of mark some spots, and a tape measure. That's all we need to do this activity.
Oh, I need a partner.
And a partner, always a good thing. So Lucia is gonna go and stand next to the tree and put 1 handkerchief down at the base of the tree. And that's gonna mark one of the spots. And Savannah is going to come out this way. She's gonna hold that pencil straight out in front of her with the eraser at the base of the tree from her vision, where she can see. And then she is just going to back up and keep backing up until she gets to the spot where the pencil looks as tall as the tree. So keeping the eraser at the base of the tree, she's gonna keep backing up until the pencil looks like it's the same height as the tree. She's also gonna make sure that she's being careful and not backing into anything like the street if we were in the front yard, or anything we might have in the backyard. Keep going till they're the same height. That's the spot.
Yep.
Now she's gonna get real crazy, and she's gonna turn that pencil 90 degrees, keeping the eraser at the base of the tree still. And then the next part's gonna get real fun. Lucia's down there by the tree. Lucia is going to walk until Savannah says stop when she reaches the point
Stop.
of the pencil. So they're basically forming a triangle here between the tree and Savannah. Now that Lucia puts down that second marker where she was told to stop, we're gonna head over there and we're gonna get crazy with that tape measure, and we're gonna measure the distance between the 2 handkerchiefs. All right, Lucia, what's the number that it says there?
It says 162, so that's about 13 feet.
13 feet. Now this is going to be a pretty close guess on how tall that tree is there. 13 feet tall. We'll make sure we write down that number to keep it for next week's activity. This is how we can size up our tree.
As you can see, through this activity, you can figure out the size of your tree without climbing to the top to measure it. You can find the step-by-step process on our webpage, along with additional resources. Thanks for following along as we measure trees. Make sure to tune in for the Nature in Your Neighborhood activity next week, where we will be using this information to help determine the environmental benefits of your tree.